Hey, today we'll go over Turo and what it is, how I got into it, and pretty much the benefits of what it could be. So Turo is a ride-sharing app, much like an Airbnb is a house-sharing app, right? So you put your car on the platform, and then people can rent it, like Enterprise or a Hertz, right? But they're generally much cheaper right now with the whole car shortage thing going on. You can get a much better deal on Turo and get a nicer car, because if you've been through one of those rental car places, you can get a compact car, for like $75 a day, and that's the bottom tier. But on Turo, you can get a pretty nice car for $75 a day, plus some other perks you can put in there or request for as well. So I got into Turo recently, actually. I found out about it about a month ago through my parents, that someone showed up to the house and they were raving about the car that they were in. It was some nice Mercedes, and they kept saying Turo, and I was like, okay, doesn't mean much to me, but they said it enough times to where it started resonating, and I looked into what it was, and looked to be a really cool application, right? To be able to, put your car up there. And then I started doing the research on cars and how often you're in your car, which is not often when you think about it, when you think of how many places you may go, but then how often it's parked in the days that you really may not need to use it, right? Especially from working from home recently, that, I don't need to use the car that much, right? Would I put my own truck on there? Maybe, maybe not. You can't have an attachment to your vehicle when you put it on here. And I have an attachment to my truck. So I had to get another car, right? I was already thinking about getting another car, and that'll be in a different video. So we're going to put the Tesla, the Model Y, on there. I saw a lot of Teslas on there, but a lot of those are the Model 3s, which I could see being one of the best options because it's the cheapest model of Tesla, and you can charge about the same price as any of the other models of Tesla. So that may be the future going forward, but right now I have the Y, and if it doesn't pan out, or I'm going to get the Y, right? It's in the process. Anybody buy anything of Tesla, that that they don't honor their time frames, and they gave me a month time frame, and it gets pushed back every day. So that's a bit irritating. That's a different video, right? So, but the Y, I plan on getting it anyways. It fast-tracked me getting it. So if I don't like the platform, I still have it anyways. If I do like the platform, hopefully it pays for it, and then I get the X, right? That's how that works, right? Buy an asset, or buy an asset, right? Pay for the liabilities. So we just went over what Turo is, and how I found out about it. So I was curious as to get into it, right? So I did my research, see how much the market is available for it. And that's important, right? Wherever you're going to make money at, you got to see the market you're in. And around here, there really isn't that big a market, especially when I started it, right? There's only maybe 5 or 6 cars in this area. And now that's grown up to maybe, 10 cars since, the month and a half that I've researched it originally. But still not that many Teslas. I still did the all my comparisons based on the Tesla, the car that I was gonna put on there. We have put a different car on there now in the meantime to see how it works and to iron out some of the details, and those details will be in the part 2 of this series. So stay tuned for that. Like and subscribe so you can see those updates. So in the next video, I'll go on how I set it all up, right? So it wasn't that hard of a process. The application is very easy. It is user friendly. You can do it on your phone or on the web, but everything is easily done either way. So that's a very good selling point for them, right? So the next is how you make money on the app, right? So the app is set up to where you can charge whatever you want to charge for your vehicle. Is it smart to charge, an astronomical rate? Probably not, but you can if you wanted to. So what a lot of people do is follow the recommended amounts that Turo gives you, right? So every time you click on a price, it gives you a recommended price or a recommended action you should take on discounts and pricing per days and things of that nature, right? So if you can set it for, hopefully, depends on your vehicle, of course, $70 a day, right? And then you can average that out to whatever your car payment is, insurance. You could make a decent amount of money, right? But at first, you will have to set it a lot lower than everyone else's because you don't have the reviews, you don't have the following yet, and the platform wants new people on there, so they will push yours to the top if you follow what they tell you to follow. If you don't, they'll push you to the bottom and they'll keep their normal people at top because you didn't follow their recommendations, right? So that's how you make money, right? And then it's based off their plans of insurance. They have the 65 now, I think, because of the promo. They're trying to get more and more people on the platform. And there's a 75 and then an 85. I'll go over the insurance in a different video as well. But so that means you get 75% and they get 25%. And then that's also how they do their insurance and their pay. So you get 75% of whatever it is, the daily rate, and then you get 90% of the extras. Say the mileage, the delivery fees, the drop-off fees, the not returning it back, clean fees, all those extras you can add on there. They'll get 90% of those, or you'll get 90% of those, and they'll take the 10%. So they're still going to take their cut regardless, as well as they take their cut on the passengers as well. So when someone books through Turo, those fees, the taxes, all that stuff, get charged also to the client, right? So they're really hitting you on both ends, the buyer and the seller, right? So, I mean, it's a good platform. So, I mean, at least it works well enough for them to be able to do that. And from what I've heard, their insurance can be tricky, but they do pay out if it's legitimate. So that's good, right? So hopefully I never have to deal with that, but it's possible, right? And now how the pricing works. So you can set it up to be in a range, right? And it'll automatically adjust the range based on availability of cars, time, and when they book it. So if you set a range between 40 and 80, it won't go be lower than 40 or higher than 80. But that may or may not be the recommendation. So we put the vehicle on there at their recommended 42, and it went up to 43 on the weekends, right? But, a different video will go over explaining the first week that we put it on there and how that affected us, because once we raised it up, the minimum was always the minimum we set, right? They would not go over what we set, but you can raise the minimum. So we can put it at $80 a day. We can put it at $100 a day, but not likely that they're going to get rented. And we're trying to make money here, but it still has to equal out of time and effort and just overall time, right? And monetary value of what you put on your own time, especially when you're working a full-time job or, several. But you can also set the availability. So if you don't want to use it, or you don't want someone else to use it at a certain time frame, you can tell them no, they can't use it that day, and then you just block off that day and they can't rent it for that day, and it's still on the platform. It's just not available for that day. So if Sundays you're going to church, you can't deal with anybody that day, you need your car that day, you can block off all Sundays and they can't rent it through that week or through that day, right? And as well as the next thing is drop-offs, right? So this is another thing we've had to work out the kinks on, right? So there's 3 different ways that they can drop it off. One is a location that you choose, which could be your house or down the street. I would probably never have someone come to my house to drop off a vehicle, if at all possible, right? So our meetup point is down the street. So that is your home location. The next part is the drop off of their choosing, right? So they can pick a place within however range you can make a range. It could be 10 miles, 15 miles, or 20 miles of where you want them or where they want to get their vehicle dropped off. And that could be at their house, right? And that is something that I've never got with like an Enterprise. Some other people say they did, but I've never gotten it to where I could go pick it up, mainly because probably flying to airports. But that's a cool feature, and you can charge them however much you want to for that feature, or add it in free. In another video, I'll go over how we add that in there and the discounts they can get for that. And the next one is a certified drop-off point. That's not your home location. That's not a location they deem, but somewhere like the airport, right? So we also have a trip for the airport, and that's a set price of right now it's at $100. It was at 50. We've raised it, and we're gonna play with it a little more to see where it fits at best. But you got to think about your time to go there, and if you can't leave the vehicle, you have to meet them there at the time that their flight gets there, and then when they depart, you have to meet them there at the time that their flight is leaving, or whatever time they get there, right? So you got to keep that in mind when you're picking these drop-off pickup parts where you can't leave the vehicle or you don't know their schedule, because you still have to take all the pictures and make sure everything is good, and then be able to get back home or wherever you got to go after that. So sometimes it ends up being a 2-person job, or you can Uber, but then you also have to realize that Ubers cost money. So if you're going there and back, is it even worth your time and the money to Uber there? But stay tuned, like and subscribe for the part 2 coming soon.